Welcome to the Calvary Christian Church tripod tutorial camera thing. So right here we have our camera. This camera is very special because it's not physically wired into our camera system. So everything is done wirelessly, which means we can put this camera in multiple places. I'll show you how to set it up in the lobby, including all the tips and tricks needed to set this up successfully and consistently every single Sunday. The camera is going to be in this room. This is the camera. Most importantly, watch the top. I like to grab it from this middle piece right here. So carefully snake it out. Watch the door frame. Are you fine? Watch the back. Watch the front. Then bring it out the doors. The setup for the camera will be right here. So set it down on the ground. Make sure it's stable and try to keep that center post straight. So we have two power cables that need to be plugged in. The first one is to power the camera unit, and the second one is to power the transceiver unit. Both of these will be plugged in. And now we have power to the system. The first switch we want to hit is on this camera. It's going to be located right here. Switch it on, and you'll know it's on when the screen is on. One troubleshoot method, if it doesn't power on, is to look at this silver cable and make sure it's pushed in all the way. The second item we want to turn on is this radio transceiver up here, which sends the signal. There's a switch on this side, and you'll know it's on when the screen is on. Up here in the live stream room, that feed from that downstairs camera is going to be on screen 6. But notice how it's black. That means it is not on. So what we'll do is we'll go over to this receiving unit up here, and the switch is going to be right there. So we go ahead and flip that switch. The fan should be spinning and the screen is on. And you'll know it's working when you see the logo. Now, if the logo stays on for too long and no camera feed shows up, that means that your transceiver unit downstairs is not working. You can see that it is linking right now in real time. And now we have a camera feed. Feel free to grab a friend that is about the same height as the speaker and have them stand on this circle while you adjust the focus and the colors and the positioning. So as you can see, it's not pointing in the right spot and it's super zoomed in. So the first thing we want to do is unzoom it. We hit these three buttons over here, and then we have two options, Ultra HD and HD. HD is the zoomed option and Ultra HD is the unzoomed option. Look how much that opened it up. To move the camera, we have two knobs. This one on the left, if you do lefty loosely, you can move your camera assembly left and right and tighten it so it doesn't move. And then to move this camera up and down, you want to do this left knob. Do hold on to the camera when you loosen this one, or else it will immediately fall down and damage everything. So for the lobby, aim it towards where your subject will be standing and then tighten this really tightly. Do note that this will sag down a little bit once it is fully tightened. So on this dot is where your subject will stand. Hello, Chrisley. So make sure that your subject is centered. So in this case, we will move it to the right. I also move the camera down. Notice how she is very fuzzy. There are two knobs here. This one is your zoom lens, and this one is the brightness. So the brightness one we don't want to touch, but the zoom one we touch until it is very clear. So move it back and forth until the subject is clear and then starts to get blurry. And that's one beautiful shot right there. One thing to note is that the color temperature of the ambient room is different in the sanctuary than it is here. So you see this 3000 number? This is where we change the color temperature. The color temperature for this room is 350. So that is a number we want to set it to. These arrows don't really do anything, so you have to manually slide it with your finger until it's exactly 350. And that's the exact color temperature for this room. However, for the church, that number is going to be 350. Think of the graphics card from a computer. So 3050 or 3500. There we go. And that's exactly where we need it to be. But since we're in the lobby, we'll just set it to 3500 and we should be good to go. Oops. There we go. So while you have this screen on, your subject might not stand exactly where they were standing when you set this camera up downstairs. So, using some radios, these are mine from home. The church doesn't have any for you to use, but usually I have mine here. Using the radios, you can coordinate with your subject to stand left, stand right, start speaking, stop speaking, or to be in place for when you need to start this stream. To turn off the camera system, simply turn off the transmission unit, the camera unit on the switch provided at the top, and then unplug it. This is helpful if you decide to move it or put it back into storage. To turn off the system, you turn everything off as usual, but make sure you turn off this unit. It is mandatory that you do. We cannot leave this thing working over the week. Well, thank you so much for listening to or watching the live stream tripod wireless camera tutorial. Hopefully this tutorial has left you with everything you need to successfully set this system up correctly, efficiently, and consistently every single time. This is Calvary Christian Church.